GHOne TV, your best experience.
It's buy one, get one. Parents, but the death of one causes unimaginable pain, emptiness, and a great sense of loss. When a child dies, which of the parents suffers the most? And is it normal to grieve alone during that process? Tonight on Life Tales, we discuss the issue of losing a child, how to navigate and overcome that loss. My guests tonight, I'll let you on who they are shortly. But let's listen to this letter sent in from a viewer who is broken.
Dear Tales, the very day I gave birth, I lost my baby boy. He was going to be my first son after 4 sweet girls. It's been 6 months since, and it seems my husband is grieving more than I am. Lately, he stays out late, hardly eats my meals, and hardly speaks more than 3 sentences to me. I know he was looking forward to naming our son after him and the happy days ahead, but that didn't happen. My husband's long silence is killing me. I have suggested we start a therapy session, but he insists there is nothing wrong. Our daughters are no longer getting the kind of attention he used to give them, and I can't do it all on my own. Is it my fault our son died? Why is my husband punishing us this way? Coupled with my healing process from childbirth, I am equally broken, tired, and do not see the way forward. What do I do, Tales? Dear Tales, the very day I gave birth, I lost my baby boy. He was going to be my first son after 4 sweet girls. It's been 6 months since, and it seems my husband is grieving more than I am. Lately, he stays out late, hardly eats my meals, and hardly speaks more than 3 sentences to me. I know he was looking forward to naming our son after him and the happy days ahead, but that didn't happen. My husband's long silence is killing me. I have suggested we start a therapy session, but he insists there is nothing wrong. Our daughters are no longer getting the kind of attention he used to give them, and I can't do it all on my own. Is it my fault our son died? Why is my husband punishing us this way? Coupled with my healing process from childbirth, I am equally broken, tired, and do not see the way forward. What do I do, Tales?
Quite a sad one there. So that's what we're discussing tonight. My guest, Nicholas Aite, is a chartered insurer. Sarah Aku Amakbazasu is a multilingual mompreneur. And Kelly Daniels, as always, is our family advocate. And tonight, as we always do, we'll try to proffer solutions thereof. Okay, so as I always do, let me go this way. Nicholas, how are you? Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
What's your initial take on this letter?
So after reading the letter, I think it's very relatable. It's not out of the vacuum. It happens. We've had so many cases like that, and I think it's understandable from both the man's perspective and the woman's perspective. You can understand them from where they're coming from. My only problem is that the man is being too selfish in this system.
Is he?
Yes, he is. I think that he's the man actually. So And in any case, yes, they've lost their baby. Both of them are allowed to grieve. But at least understand that the woman carried the baby for 9 months. So probably she would be going through a lot more, having to heal and all of that. So if you are being absent in that phase, you are not being there for her, you are being out of the home and showing them obviously that you are not happy about the fact that you lost your son. You are not going to put the home in the right place. You are going to make your daughters feel like Daddy doesn't love us as much. Mommy would also take a long time to heal and all of that. So I think it's understandable. You can understand where he's coming from, but I think that he's not handling it the right or the best way he can. Those are my initial thoughts.
Sarah.
Hi, Lily. I'm glad to be back.
I know.
It's been quite a long hiatus. What are my initial thoughts? Grief is tricky. Grief is tricky, and well, from some experience, grief is one of the things that you never fully understand until it happens to you.
Right.
Right. And it's not one thing you can actually snap yourself out of. And even more so, tell another person, in this case your husband, to snap out of it. We all react to grief differently. And in a lot of cases, profound grief actually changes people. Your perspective, your reaction and attitude to life, your personality in some cases. And in this case, I mean, I don't know if we should be giving the husband the benefit of the doubt that he's handling his grief differently from the woman. But I have 3 scenarios here from the full letter. 1, grief and managing it and how to support each other through it. 2 has to do with expectations in marriage, in any relationship, and even especially about kids and the gender of kids you want to have. I have an example that I may give later
in the course of the conversation.
And then the third is, I call it the tragedy of mourning or bemoaning your have-nots and losing sight of your haves. So there are a number of factors at play here, and grief, I'll just say in brief, is tricky and people react to it differently.
Right. Kelly.
Hi, Lily. Thank you for having me again. You see, loss is the first foundation to what might metamorphose into grief. So we're too quick to call it grief because, you see, the comprehension of what loss is defines what you might want to call grief or mourning. You see, when you understand loss maturely, you give less attention to grief, you give even lesser attention to mourning. Loss could actually be a plus if we look at it from the best perspective. It is the inability to understand that this supposed loss is a gain that it transposes into grief and then metamorphoses into mourning. There's always a positive side to every loss, regardless how you see it. Now, as a mature, emotionally intelligent, balanced human, which everybody is supposed to grow into, until we focus on seeing the positive perspective of loss, we would handle grief badly and handle mourning worse. We may not even recover from grief or loss for a lifetime. I know of a 52-year-old woman who currently still cries about the loss of her father when she was 20.
Okay.
So you could just see her morose. They're like, what's wrong? I miss my daddy. I just had memories of him. And then she's crying. I mean, I can understand that to an extent, but at 52, For goodness sake, how many years has gone and passed? It just shows mismanagement of emotions, not because it's care. You get what I'm saying? So I'm just going to say that we should understand it's easier said than done for those who haven't pre-mastered the art of understanding what I'm talking about. And I'm saying this boldly now from the perspective of a family advocate who has personally handled loss, grief, and mourning wrongly. So it's not like this is how it must be automatically like this. And this is why this forum is here, to educate people on how to understand what loss is. If you understand what loss is, you're in a better position to tilt it to the positive side and know how to handle it and make it be a plus to you than a minus to you. You get what I'm saying? But I know we might not have all the time to really deal with this, and that's why I always ask people to feel free to come for counseling so we can deal with this. We can't finish all the counseling on one place on the show.
Is this gentleman overreacting? Coming from a male perspective,
I'll be empathic enough to say that he's acting based on his current level of knowledge. Wisdom is the rightful application of knowledge obtained. There are people who have knowledge but don't have wisdom. Knowledge is data. Wisdom is how to apply it. And so I wouldn't say he's overreacting, just slamming it on his face. He has lost a child, a soul, a human. But I'd rather say I wish he had more understanding than he has now, because what he's doing could be managed better from all angles. No matter how you see it. Someone who knows what I know now, basically based on my field, would handle it better. And that's why we deal with psychology and all of that. And when people lose loved ones, and as a therapist, we are there to manage. So I'll just say he is handling it based on his current level of understanding. And the factors I see showing their heads right now are selfishness, over self-awareness, and ignorance of his leadership role as a man. These are the three major points showing their heads right now. Selfishness,
over self-awareness,
which could be a complex, and then thirdly, the ignorance of the role he should play as a man and as a family man at that. Yeah.
Nicholas, you think that a man is overreacting? How so?
Okay, so you see, so from the point I'm coming from, yes, I can understand him perfectly. Yes, I mean, of course, every dad would want to have a son for various reasons, for numerous reasons.
Isn't it every dad?
Oh yes. I mean, every man would want. Okay, so majority of men would want to have a son.
Not every man wants a son
for various reasons. But in this instance, if you were the two people involved, yes, both of you have lost your child, but the woman went through a phase for 9 months, right? Exactly. So she's gone through that, and now she has to heal after that, right? So, when the two people involved, yes, both of you have lost your child, but then she may be going through a lot more than you are. So, if you are absent during the phase where she has to heal, you're not helping her.
Is it not also because, like Kelly mentioned earlier, we all deal with grief or loss differently? So maybe he has his own way of dealing with it, and that's how he's dealing with it, by withdrawing.
But you see,
it doesn't make it right.
It doesn't make it right. You're married, but you're married. It's not always all about you. The other person must matter too. So you have to weigh the situation. Look at the situation. Look at how best it can be handled, right? And I think it's just supposed to know that this is my wife who has gone through 9 months of carrying a baby and lost the baby. She has to heal and a lot of medical conditions. You don't just think that because this is how I handle my grief, I should be allowed to go. No, you're not helping her. Actually, you're not helping the situation. You're either prolonging, and right now the wife is there worried about what is happening to my husband, and instead of taking time to heal, she's rather adding worry to it.
So you have actually,
yes, exactly. Yes. China, she's looking at how
so you're compounding her loss.
How she can help you, a grown man.
I know, right?
Help you, a grown man to.
But that's her son, too.
Well, that's the first son.
Yeah.
But gender matters.
But in this instance, I'm supposed to be her father too.
Exactly, because every male is the wife's father.
Exactly.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate the way it's turned out. But I would still not be too quick to say the man is overreacting or not. There are always a number of unanswered questions in these scenarios.
Right.
And one is, for how long has their child been gone? Number two,
in this case, 6 months.
6 months.
It's okay. 6 months is actually not really a very long time to have such closure. And
So it's not enough time to overcome such a loss?
I don't think so. And let's not forget also that the lady mentioned the man had expectations of how he was going to relate with the boy and how he would treat him and even call him junior and all of that.
Those are selfish.
Yes.
No, but is everybody not selfish?
We all are, of course.
See,
but
if you concentrate on selfishness, you should go get a surrogate. If you're thinking from the selflessness of being a responsible family man or family woman, selfishness ceases to be justifiable in that space. We are here for us. I'm not in this marriage for me.
Exactly.
I am here for the person God has gifted me. So her concern is my concern. Her worry is my worry. So I'm going to make sure that every day of her life I'll make her feel less conscious about what she defines as loss, and I'm going to turn her mind towards the positive side of loss. Let me share with you,
Kelly, just before you share,
right?
That is the ideal picture that Kelly is painting. Okay, we all
But the
understand
reality
that
on the ground.
when
No,
somebody
what is
loses
ideal and what
somebody,
is
you're
reality?
supposed to be there for the person.
Your ideal is
ideal
a
that
picture you have painted.
No, that
Exactly.
should be the reality.
Exactly.
It's
No,
ignorance
that's the
that makes
ideal.
what we call reality.
Really?
Because how things should be is what I said, which is the ideal. Now, the reality is falsehood. What we call reality is false, because until you know better, you don't do better. So the ignorance of not knowing
But I don't think it's in all cases, because I remember growing up, I used to say that an ideal man is what I've painted in my mind.
That's
but
what
the
I
real
see in
man
mind.
is what I will get at the end of the day. Because, I want this. But you meet somebody, and the person might not
if
even...
you're maturely healthy enough, your ideal man should be your real man. Because
Is
you've
it?
put everything in perspective, plus or minus.
Is
this
it?
should
Does
be
life always
a
turn out
minimum.
like
No,
that?
It doesn't always
It
turn out
doesn't.
like
So-
that. That's why it's not your choice to see this thing called destiny.
But
it
you see, in
evolves.
this instance, the gentleman's ideal family would have been to have probably all boys.
By whose standard?
By his standard, that's
That's actually the
Don't
point I was gonna
determine
make
how
earlier
many
about
males or
expectation.
females you have.
Well, I'm sure that was his painted picture.
I think he would have been okay with what he has. He just needed a boy. You see,
Or he would have been okay with just having boys.
that
See,
can also be the case. But I
another
also
thing is
believe that
this.
Hold on, Kelly.
just a boy would have been okay for him. And you see, we can understand. I personally can understand him. I can sit in his shoes and understand him perfectly, because I have my friends who also want to have a son. Not that they don't want a girl at all. I mean, they don't mind girls, but then they want there to be a boy in the mix. So it can be understood. But it didn't happen. You can't. You see, even if you grieve, don't let your family see it. He can go to. He can be. But then, don't make it so obvious for them. Don't put it in their face, because your wife, so right now your wife needs you more. Maybe you understand. Your wife needs you more. Your daughters also need you more. So the moment you are showing it all over that I am not happy, you're not helping the situation. Right now, the wife,
Or probably he feels that she's not pained as much as he is, because she's fine with having the girls.
but how pained can you
do you
be?
determine that?
What did you do? You didn't carry the baby. She carried the baby for 9 months, right? And she went through the delivery process. She had to push and all of that. That's a lot of pain. You get it. So you can't just come and then the baby is gone and then put rabbit in her face that so it's not even her fault, and the wife now is wondering, what did I do wrong? Where did I go?
Right.
You don't want her to go through that. You understand? So the man, yes, he's overreacting, is not treating the situation fairly. He can do better, I think. Even though I understand him, I think he can do better.
Sarah, you're making a point before the detour.
Partly, I agree with you that yes, he can do better. Of course, in the scenario we are given, he definitely can do better, which is why we're proffering solutions for what the better situation should be. In my opening remarks, I mentioned that grief is something that sometimes you don't really understand it until it happens to you. Do we even know if this man has lost anybody before? Do we know if he's talking to anybody at all to help him manage the process? Because, I mean, I think it's common knowledge that there are 5 stages of grief, People go through the 4th before they even come to the 2nd. People are in denial for so long, they now get angry with the wife, probably because he's thinking the wife did something wrong during birth or during the pregnancy, or he's simply just depressed. So the question should be, if he's not talking to the wife, who is he talking to? Who is helping him? Because look, I have a live scenario. My mom is late, okay? And guess what? I speak to my dad. I visit my dad because I want to visit my dad. And guess what? 14 years on, he tells me that when I look at you, I feel both joy and pain. 14 years on. Why? You have grown up to look so much like your mother. So when I see you, all I'm seeing is your mom. So in such a case, I can't say I'll stay away from my dad, because when he sees me, he's seeing my mom. And one also cannot judge him that 14 years on, you still see your daughter and see it's an emotional process, and he manages it with the help that we offer. So the question is, what help is he getting? Because there are trigger factors. He mentioned some 3 elements. There are lots of things at play. Trigger factors, maybe, okay, if I'm talking to my wife about it, I feel like maybe I'm causing her more pain. Some people don't like to talk about their pain, which is a place we should get to. People think that not talking about it would make it go away.
It's not a cultural thing.
Exactly. So that is the cultural thing we should actually be facing, including the fact that there should be a mind change. He talked about positive mindset, which I totally agree with, where I don't know if it is a Ghanaian man, I should say, that you want a son by all means. I
don't think it's just a Ghanaian. I think it's an African thing.
And it's a bit, outdated. Permit me to say, because women are doing great things. Okay, women are doing great things. Women, your daughters will bear your name and do great things that, excuse me, some of your sons may not be able to attain. So we really need a positive mindset around that. I have a friend actually, so she has 2 daughters, and then she got pregnant and she wanted a son, because it would really make the husband happy. Guess what? She refused to do a scan. In this day and age, she kept going for antenatal visits and all that, but she refused to do a scan. Bought a lot of unisex clothes and let's do the scan. Whatever the sex of the child is, it will be your child. So the sooner you know and psych yourself to loving the child, if it turns out not to be a boy, the better. She refused. I thought I could, but I didn't convince her. Well, luckily for her, it was a boy. But all this while, the boy is almost 3 years now, and I've been asking myself, so what would have happened psychologically and emotionally if that child turned out to be a girl? What would have been the situation? So we do need some shifts in our mindsets and assist the man if he is not talking to you.
And this whole thing about Bemen, so he doesn't want to openly show emotion.
That could actually be.
That's why he's probably staying away.
Yeah. Exactly.
That could actually be the reason.
We do need a positive mindset, and if the wife, for a number of things that the wife can do, okay, it's like you're hurt and you're trying to help a hurt person. She has proposed therapy, to which the man has said no, because like we're saying, he's probably not yet ready to talk about his emotions. What I would advise is this: it's easier for a healthy person to support a sick person. So whilst you're waiting for him to come around, you, the woman, start therapy. It can be diversionary. You may not necessarily be going to talk to someone like Kelly, but it can be diversionary.
So they should not talk to me.
I mean, aside talking to you, aside talking to you,
Come to me.
she has the girls. Count your blessings. It's actually a thought process I have gone through, and I'm liking it. So this balance of my mom passed away in September, and then I had my daughter in September. So when I'm in September, am I mourning or am I happy that I have a daughter? And right now I've decided to put my gain above my loss.
Right.
So this young woman should start the process of counting her losses, trying to heal herself, so she can be in a good place to support the husband.
Looking at the fact that she's 6 months postpartum,
Exactly,
and going through this, will it actually slow down her healing process? And should she take time away from her husband as a mother?
tough decisions, because let's not forget that there are 3 girls in the picture already.
4 actually.
Oh really?
4 girls,
Yes.
yeah, 4 girls.
I missed that. That is a lot. And if the person is in Ghana, it's very difficult to find help these days. And you see, that's one situation that I've always talked about. Your children are not waiting for you to sort yourself out before they grow. That
They are
is
growing
one
regardless.
unfortunate. They are growing regardless. They are learning either from your good or bad example, because they don't understand that you're going through something. They are growing regardless, and you know, for girls, they have their stages that if you lose them at certain stages, it will be difficult to catch on, and then there may not be that maternal bonding. It's a tough one. Taking time off her husband may not necessarily help. So one of the things that as a mother or a wife, we are taught to, we have tried to practice over the years, regardless of what your partner is doing, love him. No matter how hard it is. Do the things
just as you would love your child.
Yes, do the things you would do for him if he were loving you back. Keep cooking if he doesn't eat.
But how easy is it to say these things and actually do it
It's
when
not
you are
easy.
hurting?
It's not easy. That is why I'm actually, I'm very much sympathizing with the woman, because she has a lot of things on her plate. Postpartum, your son, and let's not forget that the mother, actually, the bond between a mother and child is totally different. You as the expectant father, yes, you can put your hands on the belly and talk. Your son will know your voice by the time he's born. But that emotion, you know, back in the day when our mothers would say that when I'm out of the house and my child is crying, I feel it in my breast. You know, you couldn't comprehend, but you become a mother and you actually feel it, and you're like, what is this? God is wonderful. So she's actually in a place where she needs a lot of help. So if her family is out there, if they are a helpful family, they should look out for her. If her friends know what she's going through, they should support her, because this must be very difficult.
Is he being selfish, Kelly?
Is he being selfish? Yes, he's being selfish on every ground, and I was this almost skipped me. So forgive me. I just want to help 10 people who are mature singles, young couples, and single parents. If you're in that category, just look me up on Instagram at Kelly Daniels Office right about now. DM me to say that you are ready for the Kelly Daniels Love Class. Ask Kelly Daniels Office at Kelly Daniels Office on Instagram. So just message me right now to say you want to join the Kelly Daniels Love Academy. If you are a mature single, I determine that, by the way.
I like that. I like that.
so not everyone is not for everyone. It's for a secluded few. If you consider yourself as a mature single, you are a single parent, you are a young couple of not more than 7 years, we can work. So just get in touch with me and let's deal with this, okay? Now, and this is going to be online on Saturday, so wherever you are around the world, we can make it happen. Now, this man is selfish. Not a fault of his, but you see, ignorance is not acceptable. There are there are classes he should have been through before now to have him have a broad idea of what it means to be fatherly and husbandry. See, the word husband comes from an agricultural word called husbandry, animal husbandry. How to put the animal farm in a particular perspective. It means literally take charge of the farm. Now, that's why they call women the garden, that you need to take care of. You see, a lot is on your shoulder as a male getting into marriage. When you get into marriage, you're no longer a male alone in marriage. You are a father, you are a priest, you are a provider. That's why I keep hammering over time that provision for a man is very little to do with money. If you provide all the money and you don't provide all the emotional balance, you still lose your home. If you provide all the money and you don't provide a certain level of priesthood, spiritual oversight, you still lose your home. So let's stop focusing on the man must provide, and focus the provision on cash. Cash could come from the woman, cash could come from the man. I beg to say to you that cash could come from the child at age 1. We see start children from scratch, and then it's the resource we get from that child at age 1 or 2. They feed with. So men are not meant to provide cash alone. Let cash be the last thing on an average man's mind. How intellectually providing are you? How spiritually providing are you? These are the things that this particular man should have put together before he even got married. Because certain things hit you. There are men who lose their jobs. In fact, losing a child is even secondary. There are men who lose their jobs who can't recover from the fact that that kind of a thing hits them. So they lose their emotions, they have complexes, they feel inferior, and every other person is in trouble because they lost a job. That's the person who doesn't have balance. How much more a person who has lost a child? Now, this is the reason why I believe he is selfish. You have 5 human beings to explain to the reason why they shouldn't take grief to another level. Consider the fact that God has put in your hands the lives of those 5 people who must be mentally sane to have the best of the rest of their lives or the worst of the rest of their lives. Trauma not handled maturely turns into a continuous volcano.
Right.
I can say that again.
Yeah.
Trauma not well handled can turn into a continuous volcano.
And so is your trauma now a volcano? We'll find out after the break. Stay with us. This is Life Tales.
Music Awards UK, it's finally here! You can help your favorite to win big at this year's awards. But first, you have to vote. The voting process is simple. If you're in Ghana, dial *447*2022# That's *447*2022# and follow the prompts. This show code is across all networks. If you're outside Ghana, it's simple. Log on to the website www.gmauk.co.uk/vote. That's www.gmauk.co.uk/vote. at the Cornish UK/vote and follow the prompts. Start voting now and support your favorite by voting as many times as you can. The GHOne Music Awards UK 2022. Our music, our culture.
See, you gotta have a smile, no matter what it takes. Then you gotta take perk down, love the way it tastes. Feel the perky buzz from your toes to your face. You gotta take perk down, perky it today. Say oh, 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 oh. You gotta take perk down, perky it today. Say oh, 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 oh. You gotta take perk down, perky it today. Say oh, 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 oh. You gotta take perk down, perky it today.
Perk up anywhere, even at home, with the rich milky taste of Peck biscuits. This advert is FDA approved.
The state security agencies will do their work efficiently if we as citizens actively support them, because the criminals live with us in our communities. Be vigilant at all times, and if you see something, say something. Jamaa ankara mapampana. Kena wanyani ayi yele bell anna dangana malo. Ki yele karibak. Kena nye yele bell mepelente. If you see something, say something.
Say something if you see something, my friend. If you see something, you for say something.
Okay, we gotta go live now.
I'm tuning in to Super Sports.
Welcome all over the world. It's time for the main event. We've waited a very long time. It is delicious, just like that.
Are you ready for football's greatest season? Live on Super Sport, only on DSTV.
You believe in creating change for your community, for Africa and for the world. So do we. Global Citizen is a movement of people that believes that if we act together, we can create a society in which everyone has the opportunity to thrive. Join us at Blackstone Square on September 24th for the Global Citizen Festival. Experience an incredible lineup and witness world leaders taking action for a better world. Download the Global Citizen app today to earn your free spots at the festival. Welcome back from the break. This is Live Stills here on GHOne TV. Tonight we're discussing the loss of a child and how to navigate through as parents. But before that, let me tell you what to nibble on anytime you're hungry, you're stressed, and you need just something in your mouth. Mouth watering. Peck is back and is giving you the best, as they always do. Your favorite Peck biscuits have been made milky and tastier with 2 extra biscuits in every pack that you buy. For all your moments, Peck has got you covered, and so you get 16% extra promo pack in any shop near you for those Pecky moments. Nicholas, let me ask you, does the grief of this father change how he sees his children going forward?
I hope it doesn't. I really hope it doesn't, because, and there are girls too, it wouldn't help at all. And I wish he didn't even make his daughters see what he's going through, because it just sends wrong signals to them. They'll be wondering if daddy actually even loves them. Did he
actually, I mean, judging from this night, did he actually want girls?
You see, I think that he doesn't have a problem with having daughters. He just probably wants a balance. He just wants a boy, because they are all girls. That's what I think. I believe that if they were all boys, he would have opted to have a girl. But like I was saying earlier, given that these children are girls, and girls are very delicate, especially when it comes to relating to the other gender, the male gender, and especially
in their formative years.
Yes, that he's supposed to let them understand what it is like to relate with a boy, what love is all about, and all of that. He shouldn't let it affect his relationship with them, and he shouldn't let them see what he's going through. I'm sure he's been a loving father from when they were there, because if he wasn't, I'm sure the wife would have said it in the letter. So he should just continue being that loving father, and not show them that he has a problem with the fact that he didn't get the son that he was hoping to get.
Do you think there's anything they are missing out on in this whole healing process?
Yeah. They are losing the consciousness of each other. I mean, the parents, and in the process, they are losing the balance of emotional intelligence for the rest of the children they have. Given that, even if that boy that is gone is now replaced, the attention of every member of that family is going to be on that child.
On the child, on the boy.
Detrimental grossly to every other girl, including the mother. So he now becomes the king, the master, the author and finisher of the whole family. And there's no way forward other than him. So it's like, hey, let nothing happen to this one. Then he becomes, fuck, no, you are just as regular as every other member of the family. So that's why I'm saying they are losing each other. They are losing the bond they should have as a couple. They are losing the understanding of the essence of marriage.
Exactly.
There's a difference between having a marriage and having a family. The marriage is almost totally gone. As for the family, it's a mess already. So the only hinge left is just a little bit more for the man or the woman to say, hey, let's snap out of this. We're losing each other. So yes, they have everything to lose if continuity is the name of the game for what is going on right now. The truth of the matter is, until they realize what I'm saying, and I wish the family is actually listening, because you see, let's take away
she
the
is
blame.
watching.
Good, but let's take away the blame from the man squarely.
Exactly.
For a bit. And let's let this woman know what she seems to be at a loss of if she doesn't snap out on his behalf. Because there's no crime in saying that the woman should mature before the man does. I mean, mature enough to snap out and put the family together. If she loses that quality that's supposed to be exhibited by her, the man might not get it early, and the more they lose counts on that, the more the family deteriorates. So yes, they are losing on all counts. So I'm going to say, forget what the man is doing right now. You had the boldness to get in touch with us to give you a solution right now. So it means that you're willing to be tutored, to learn, and to grow out of what you're going through right now. So focus on, hey, I can't afford to lose my husband. I can't afford to lose my children. Because you see, this matter is transgenerational in nature. If you don't handle these 4 girls well, they are growing, and they grow with that mentality of rejection, neglect, and never enough of themselves. And that's supposed to prospectively be people's wives and people's future mothers. So it means this is going to be transgenerational in the process. So this woman can save a whole lineage by womaning up, if there's a word like that, and making things happen fast. Otherwise, these children are growing, and this 21st century kind of children growing now that are already women before they develop breasts, they become something before you know it. So the earlier she just takes responsibility, God help her, and we are praying for her. God help her snap out of this thing earlier so that the man catches up quicker. Otherwise, we are in trouble.
How will she be able to woman up if the husband says there's nothing wrong?
I think Kelly has said almost all of the right things. And I did say it earlier. The man may not get his aha moment until maybe much later. And for the sake of her personal well-being and the girl's well-being and growth, she would need to snap out. And obviously she's willing to do something by even reaching out. So if she's a believer, honestly pray to God to fix you, fix your husband, fix your family and your marriage. And I would piggyback on what Kelly said again. We are normally not able to distinguish between our marriage and the family. And this also goes back to some of the things that we fail to talk about as a society. How many churches, mostly the churches that do marriage counseling for people before they get married, how many churches or priests or pastors talk about this kind of situation where you're married, you have even your first child and the child dies? What do you do? Children are a gift from God. How do you handle it? Even in some situations, they don't really talk about sex. They brush over it. They talk about it lightly, and sex in marriage is not a light matter. So I think it is time that we start talking about the difficult questions in our marriages. Focus on the marriage. There was a time we're talking about why are there the divorce rates in terms of the empty nester stage. The children are gone, you are there with your spouse and you no longer have anything in common, because for over 20 years all you talked about was school fees, grades from school, boarding house, provisions. Where is you, the two of you? Where is that relationship, which is actually, according to my belief, the family? You, the man and the woman, are the family.
Is it not also because, not to cut you, the moment people get married, the first thing they're thinking about is, when next are we going to have a child? And even at the ceremony, they tell you, the next
one coming. And after you have had one, you would have to, people will still ask you, when is the next one coming? I mean, as if they're feeding the children.
So people don't actually enjoy their marriages.
No, we are always, so at the very beginning, I mentioned the tragedy of mourning your have-nots instead of counting your haves. And even in our daily lives, we do that. We are busy thinking about promotion instead of enjoying the level at which you're, doing your best now. You're busy worrying about
getting married when you should be enjoying your single life.
Exactly. You get married and like, damn, my 20s, blah, 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 blah. You missed out on it. We want to live in the future when the present we have fully. Exactly. So we should talk about these issues and focus on the fact that your marriage and your family is the two of you, plus or minus your children. And this woman needs a lot of grace, one. Number two, she should pick herself up, heal fast enough, do things she loves, do things with her daughters so she doesn't lose them. And eventually the man, I was going to talk about, can we also say that maybe the man has gone out for quite a while? He really wants to come home, but maybe the ego factor, or he's not too sure how to turn around. Well, maybe he's not about to come back and say, I'm sorry, So how do you, as the woman, make the home ready for him to easily fall back into a place of peace when he is actually ready? So she should continue working on herself, her daughters, and like I said earlier, continue loving the man, because that may actually turn him around.
Like your stubborn child. She keeps talking about therapy. Is that the only solution?
I think the man just has to be a man and just snap.
Should she speak to somebody the man obviously respects, maybe his parents, maybe his boss at work, his pastor or something?
Okay, so personally, I don't like too many parties in a marriage or in a union. I feel like whatever thing happens in a marriage can be handled by the two of you. Inviting too many people in it, I personally don't.
But in this instance, she's tried talking, it's not working.
So you see, I don't even want the woman to do anything. You see, like she go through a lot already.
You be like you boy.
Yeah, like the man just has to be the man. The woman has gone through a lot already. She needs pampering, she needs love, she needs to be supported and cared for. She's not supposed to be worried about how am I going to get to my husband. The man just has to just understand, and I really,
and man up.
I really hope it's the case that he doesn't want to talk about it, so that the woman would hurt more. That one maybe I'll understand him more, but even that, he still should own the situation, man up, and move the family ahead, because that's what's supposed to be to happen.
At some point, somebody's head has to be correct.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody's head has to be correct, and we can't wait for the other's head to be correct.
Should she take that responsibility?
If she is at the point, no. You are saying she should. She shouldn't do anything.
I wish she wouldn't do anything.
Yeah, it's just a wish, but to suffer the situation, something has to be done, and drastically so.
Now.
And immediately.
Yeah.
You see, so the man, the woman who has snapping out of what is going on now and is asking for help, knows already that she has already gotten to a place of overstaying her welcome in the morning scenario. To the point where she's thinking her husband is overreacting, or her husband. It shows that she herself is almost totally healed.
Okay, yes, that's true.
For her to see that, why is my husband behaving like this? This is supposed to be our matter.
And I am supposed to be even more.
I'm supposed to be getting the pampering now. So she snapped out of it, literally. Well, that's why I want you to get in touch with me at Kelly Daniels' office on Instagram. Get in touch so that we can have the Love Academy for mature singles, single parents, and if you're married for less than 7 years. Let's get this sorted so we don't have too much of this to keep handling every time. At Kelly Daniels' office, just send me an inbox to just say you want to be a part of it, and I'll let you know how. Okay?
And please, what will you do for this lady?
She should get in touch.
Okay.
There's only much that I can say on set.
But is therapy the only thing that can solve this?
Therapy is of different stages. You could give yourself self-therapy, to be honest. You could seek for help, which she's doing right now. Now she can ask for exclusivity in therapy.
Right.
So this may just be enough for certain people,
Right.
but you might want to go deeper to check if this was really enough, and that's why I'm saying she should get in touch. So if I interview her and realize this was just enough, then she becomes my friend and she just gives me updates every now and then. You understand? Otherwise, I need to calm down and sit her down and say and check: is this just suppressed depression coming up to well up later? To destroy the home finally,
You're really healed.
or you're really healed. We need to check these things. All these people smiling under this thing as though all is well.
People have beautiful pictures with sad stories.
Yes.
I like what you just said, and that is why I need to be in touch with her to recheck this.
Okay.
If this was okay. Sincerely, I don't have the time. I have too many things on my space, but I want to know if this is fine. If this is fine, then we are happy. If not, I'm willing to give more help professionally.
Thank you very much, Nicholas. Nicholas Aite is a chartered insurer. Sarah Ako Amakwazasu, thank you for coming back. She's a multilingual mompreneur. And of course, our very own Kelly Daniels is a family advocate. And my name is Lily Mohammed. You can call me the Kusase Goddess. Thanks as always to my team. I never walk alone. I always sit here and do the talking, but trust me, the real work is done behind the scenes. My producer, director, camera, sound, lighting, floor, everybody, thank you so much for always holding me down, and to you at home for always making time to watch. Good night. Hasta la vista.